Alright, here we go. We have a repeated guest back on the platform, man. Napoleon, happy to have you back on the platform, my man.
I'm happy to be back, bro. You know what I mean? What's good with you? Long time, bro. It's been a minute.
Yeah, man, just cooling, man, grinding, man, knocking out these interviews, man, getting content.
I see, man, your platform blowing up, bro. I love it. I never been this attentive to YouTube, bro. But I'm YouTube crazy though. But you got some good content, man. It's very, wholesome. Bring back a lot of good memories. So keep doing your thing, bro.
Oh, man, appreciate that, man. But yeah, man, I had to bring you back on the platform, man. After that Will Smith and Chris Rock incident at the Oscars, I called you the same day of the incident, man. And I also posted that flashback video on my channel about you talking about how Jada asked Tupac not to beat up Will Smith. And that interview went viral again, man. So I hit you that same day I dropped that video and I asked you to come back on the platform, man. So with that being said, man, before we speak on Tupac and Jada and the relationship between the two, how did you feel when you seen Will Smith get on stage and violate Chris Rock like that? Because it seems like everyone had an issue with that. He got a whole lot of backlash for doing that to Chris Rock. So how did you feel about the incident, my man?
I think the incident was it's actually a sad situation, all around the board, man. I think the way Will Smith handled it, you know what I mean, it wasn't proper, it wasn't correct. I think, but that comes from a guy that's holding so much inside. It's obviously he needs some type of way to out, to let this anger out or whatever he's going through. You know what I mean? But I think the way he went about it was wrong. It's a sad situation. You know what I mean? The way Chris Rock handled it, he handled it very professional. You know what I mean? Because imagine if Chris Rock would have swung back or whatever, they would have blamed it on. They wouldn't have blamed it on two individuals. They would have blamed it on the whole race of people. You know what I mean? So I think the way Chris Rock handled it was very professional. That especially in our community, we don't really see. We was trained to go violence with violence. You know what I mean? So the way he handled it was definitely mature.
Yeah, man. Speaking of Will Smith, what do you think he's dealing with? Because he said in interviews before, like the interview he did with Breakfast Club, he admitted that he was jealous of Tupac. And you have a whole lot of people that believe that he's trying to be Tupac and he's trying to fulfill his shoes when it comes to Jada. So how do you feel about the people that say that, man? Because like I said earlier, he did an interview with Breakfast Club and he admitted that he was jealous of Tupac. And he even told a story, if I'm not mistaken, about how he was in the same room with Tupac before and he couldn't bring himself to speak to Tupac.
I think, man, Will, I actually feel his situation is very complicated because the way Hollywood, make men, set out men to be is that it's natural for us to, we dress our women up. We go to these Hollywood events. They pretty much come out with pretty much no clothes on. And they allow you to sit them in front of guys. But they don't want you to be jealous. They want you to protect your woman, but they want you to put them on a platter in front of guys and put them on a platter in front of television. But at the same time, they don't want you to protect them. So I think he's dealing with something that's is a difficult balance that he got to go through because I think I seen an interview where he mentioned that he always had, some type of way against Tupac. But I think Will Smith, he paved his own lane. It's be yourself. You know what I mean? Tupac is Tupac. Will Smith is Will Smith. You know what I mean? I think the reason probably why he settled Jada picked him because he wasn't Tupac. And he just probably got to know that. You know what I mean? He did something. He paved his own lane. And, you know what I mean? He shouldn't try to, worry about another individual that's not even here. I pray that, it's sad because they have a family. You know what I mean? So, in our community, it's good to see, especially black Americans, mother and father together raising their children. We like to see this, man. I hope that, they succeed with this. But they got to get people out of they got to go into a privacy stage. You know what I mean? Everything that happens should not be on the internet. You know what I mean? And so it's difficult when a man is married to a woman and everything, even a private affairs, is all on the internet. I don't know how a person can survive like that. You know what I mean?
Right. And another thing, that people were saying online, because once the incident happened, I was looking at a lot of reactions from people online. And a lot of people feel like Jada was fabricating her relationship with Tupac to make Will Smith jealous. And some of the people were celebrities too. But yeah, man, there's a lot of people that feel like that. They feel like, Jada, she was making her relationship with Tupac much more than it really was to make Will Smith jealous.
I think I don't think she fabricating her relationship with Pac. I think Pac and Jada definitely had, a close relationship. it never was anything intimate. It just was on, based on friendship, to the point where Pac really looked at her like someone he really had a lot of respect for. He was real close with it, but nothing ever happened outside of that. You know what I mean? So I think it was just based on respect. So I think when she say like the type of relationship she had with Pac, I believe her. You know what I mean? Because Pac wrote poetry about her. You know what I mean? He always spoke highly about her. They really had a great relationship, but it wasn't nothing other than a friendship. Even though, even if they cared about each other, you know what I mean, and probably wanted to go further, it never happened, So I think, that's the problem when you go to the internet, because everybody put their opinion in it. So I hope that whatever's happening inside the home of Jada and Will, they not allowing these outside opinions to affect, they thinking, their mentality, because, that's going to be difficult to try to sustain a marriage when you worrying about what other people say and what other people think. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. So when we did the first interview, you told me 2 different stories about Tupac and Jada. You told me the time y'all went to the movies to see her movie Low Down Dirty Shame, and how Tupac was glued to the screen,
yes,
and how you felt like the movie was boring. And you told me the other story that went viral about Tupac being mad that Jada asked him, yes, not to beat up Will Smith. You being around Tupac the last year or 2 of his life, did he bring up Jada's name outside of them 2 occasions you told me about? Do you remember another time he brought up her name when you was around?
Maybe I didn't hear, I might not recall him mention her, outside of those 2 occasions to me, but doesn't mean that he didn't, because, I seen many pictures of Pac. Even when he came home and went to LA, he was popping up in pictures with Jada. You know what I mean? So he had come home and he didn't even tell us what he was doing. So, so you got to also remember we was young. So it's not like he told us every move, you know what I mean? And so I do believe, not to take, you know what I mean? I really believe they did have a special relationship, you know what I mean? Not to take away from that, you know what I mean? But a person like Will, it shouldn't bother him. Pac he's not even alive, you know what I mean? So he shouldn't be worried about that, But a woman, of course, you gotta, I'm not a marriage counselor, but as a man naturally, we should have jealousy. In Arabic, it's called izza. Like we have this izza, like a protection over that we should have over our woman. You know what I mean? So, and the woman should also know her place. It's not good to throw men, ex-men in the face of your husband and stuff like that. But like I said, the Hollywood society, it almost want us to lose that jealousy. It doesn't want men to have a jealousy. It doesn't want men to protect their woman. They want to put the men and the woman on the same status. And what I mean by that, not saying that men and women is not on the same status, because I know the people are twisted, but I mean, like even Allah says in the Quran, we put some over the other, because, for example, a man in Islam, for example, have to provide for his woman. He should be working for his family. He got to provide for his family. It's not that, you know what I mean? For example, if I'm going to build, if I'm a construction worker and I'm building these, and I'm moving these big tons or these big, these big trucks or, cement, this is a job that a man should want to do. You know what I mean? So some things is for the woman and some things is for the man. And what I mean by that, because I know how people are going to twist these words, not saying that a man and a woman is not equal. On certain things they are. You know what I mean? Some things a woman even surpass men. You understand? But what I mean that a man, Allah created a man, God created a man and a woman, where most men physically are more stronger than a woman. So it shows that our body can take certain physical work that maybe a woman cannot take. And what's natural is also a man should be protected over his woman. But Hollywood, they like to strip that. You know what I mean? They rather a man be humiliated before he protect his woman. So I think Will is going through that, where he like, well, I'm supposed to look like this, in the outside world, but deep in my heart, I feel like I should be doing this for my family. So it's a very, very delicate situation. Unfortunately, man, you know what I mean? They don't want to see Hollywood and this entertainment. They don't like to see marriages survive. They will keep writing reports. They will keep picking at the people until they go their separate ways, unfortunately. You know what I mean?
Right. And before Tupac passed away, he was happily dating Kadada Jones, right? Before he died?
Yes. Before Pac died, he was engaged with Kadada. They was going to get married. He wanted to marry her. He was around her all the time. She was around all the time. So that was his that was his fiance. He wanted to marry her.
So that situation with Kadada Jones was serious. Because, I mean, one thing that's funny, is like, and I'm pretty sure you see the same thing. You online as well. People mention Tupac and Jada more than they mention Tupac and Kadada, and he was actually engaged to Kadada before he passed away.
True. He was engaged with Kadada. You know what I mean? From what we knew, it was everybody that was around knew that he wanted to marry her. You know, he was in love with her. She was in love with him. They was planning to marry. They didn't have no wedding date set or nothing like that, but you know, he wanted to marry Kadada, definitely.